Hey guys, what's going on? It's Roth and Eric, the dragons on the wall.
We were just debating whether we, in fact, are the dragons.
I say that we are absolutely the dragons.
I did not know I was trying to embody a dragon, but I'll attempt to get into dragon mode.
Work on it, man.
Dragon Zord mode. Are you Power Rangers fans?
Vermithrax.
Yeah.
Couple of dragons watching the wheels go round and round. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones right now. Specifically, we're going to talk about Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 4. Sons of the Harpy.
Sons of the Harpy.
Full spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to get spoiled, I would not watch this video. And I would come back when you have. Okay, let's dive in. What did you think of the episode?
I know, I thought it was really good, and it was interesting to kind of see how we really are getting these two almost parallel stories here, because the episode was called Sons of the Harpy, but we also saw the Sparrows really up what they were doing. So you really had sort of both in King's Landing, and I'm forgetting the land exactly where Dany is right now.
Marine.
Yeah. So you had in both places this sort of unrest happening with these groups, these very sort of fanatical groups rising up and really causing chaos.
We are thinkers alike, because that's what I wrote down as my general thoughts. I thought what's really interesting to me as this season is evolving, and the tactic that I think that they've taken in terms of the storytelling for the show was to focus it on the rise of fanaticism. Obviously, yes, with these groups. Like the Sparrows are clearly religious fanatics. And I wouldn't call the Sons of the Harpy religious fanatics.
It's not the same, yeah.
They're cultural fanatics. They feel that they have been robbed of their culture and they want to take it back, you know. But also you have things like Melisandre, you know, and sort of her take on the Lord of Light and being willing to burn loads of people alive in the name of life.
Yeah, we're kind of being reminded of the different belief systems, often religious but not always, but that these people are coming with their own sort of not just agenda as far as like, I want to do this, but like if you really truly believe in the grander scheme, this is how things are supposed to go.
Absolutely, and you could even, you know, you could toss in Varys to that mix as somebody who really, really believes in sort of seemingly, according to him, in what the realm needs in terms of leadership and really being devoted to the monarchy. That's an interesting thing to me too, is that the folks that like don't even think that, and you understand it, but like if you've only had a monarchy ever, why would you really think that there's another way? Except that the free folk show you that there is.
Right.
So that's been something that
so will Game of Thrones end with the first election in Westeros?
That's my theory, but it's not an election. I mean, it wouldn't be that. Now I'm spilling my whole theory. I was gonna write a whole editorial about this. I still can, but but literally that is my theory, that I have a whole theory, but that's a different topic. I'll swing back to that at another time. But yes, democracy.
Yeah, democracy. Times are changing.
In short, democracy. That's what this whole story's been about.
But it was funny because it was called Sons of the Harpy, and certainly the end of the episode really upped that. But yeah, it was really, you know, early on, us seeing the Sparrows, and you know, last week we met the High Sparrow, and he put on a very friendly face, and it seems sort of a, you know, kind guy. But then we really saw them getting very dark and really just bursting in, and just how far they'll go, which obviously got very personal for Marjorie because of her brother being taken, and is going to once again sort of put in the spotlight the Marjorie-Cersei face-off.
Power play,
Because Cersei can act all she wants, like, oh, I didn't know anything about this, but yeah.
But she is a really brilliant, you know, particularly, it's interesting, we talk about differences in the book and the show, we won't get into that now, but particularly in the depiction of her depiction on the show.
Yeah.
She is a very brilliant power player, and this was seemingly a good move. However, I will say this, you know, if you're talking about arming people that are not swayed by wealth or power, which are the two things that you have as a Lannister, then you can only hold them in your sway for so long. And if they, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a risky move, but but right now it's working for her, you know, in terms of with Loras, and really she's just trying to get to Marjorie. And that is the interesting thing too about the Sparrows and kind of any fanatics. You find yourself wondering like, well, why couldn't you just stop at the place where you fed people soup?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why do you then have to go to, and I know what's best for the whole world, and I'll prove it by carving things into my forehead and beating you with sticks.
Yeah.
You know?
And then going back to the Sons of the Harpy, because it was the name of the episode, we kind of really saw them make their bigger play here at the end of the episode. I will say they kind of telegraphed pretty heavily that something awful was going to happen to Sir Barristan.
They sure did.
Because it was a very TV thing to do, where a character who's kind of there in the periphery, we like him, but it's not like he gets a spotlight, suddenly has such a warm moment with Dany.
Oh, you knew he was...
It was like, I actually jotted down, like, well, something bad is about to happen to him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it was like, where did this come from, you know?
We're loving you in this moment. You were definitely not long for this world.
Right, because it was a great scene for both of them. It was seeing a different side, you know, Dany getting to sort of reminisce about her, well, not reminisce, she wasn't there or cognizant of it, but to kind of talk about her family, who she often hears of in just negative terms, in a different light.
Yes.
And yeah, and him getting to really go into that and that history that is very interesting for all of us who are big fans. But at the same time, it was also such a warm moment between the two of them. It was like, yeah, something bad's going to happen.
Well, you know, he got to go out strong,
right?
You know, he went out like a hero and a warrior, which is what he is. I mean, you forget, like, it's interesting because it's, you know, it's an interesting thing in the show when you hear these people that you're seeing and they're legend, like this great warrior and this and that. But and then you saw him in that moment, you're like, this old man can fight.
Oh yeah,
you know, like, and it's very impressive and brave and heroic and tragic and sad. And there's obviously huge cultural fallout happening here. I think he's dead. You said you think he's maybe not.
I think he probably is dead, but I just was saying on Game of Thrones, when deaths can be so graphically definitive, his was a little less so, in that it had that tiny bit of wiggle room for them to save him. But yeah, I think it's 99% that was the end for him. Both because, you know, because dramatically that is how it was played, and it was kind of him kind of getting that one last act of glory and fighting for what he believed was right. So yeah, he's probably gone. It was a great sequence. Him and Grey Worm both kind of stepping up, and
he died for Grey Worm. All right, we're gonna end it right there. We know that plenty more happened in this episode. There's so much more to talk about, but we are going to have our longer show, which will be up on Monday. So if you're watching this on Sunday after the Game of Thrones aired, you can check us out on Monday to get a lot more in depth about this episode. For now, what did you think? What do you think about the season so far? Do you think that he's dead? Or could he be alive?
Probably not.
Could he be a walker? Yeah. Probably not, since he died. Nowhere near there. All right, leave your comments below. Come back and check out more.